Hey, I got a confession. Been losing all momentum. Just because it's easy, well, that don't make it better. I wanna dig my hands deep down in the dirt. Take a walk along the street if I'm feeling dessert. All of this convenience just doesn't work for me. I wanna play with fire, let me get hurt. Can we take it back to 95? Before we had this drama in our lives, just staring at the screen every day and night. I miss the rush of living in real life. Go get your DeLorean. Oh, I miss the summers with you and never swipe left to right. Ah, snuck in your window, no friend request, no, just spent the night. I had to walk right up to your locker and risk you saying, boy, just don't bother. I know this all just makes me sound ancient, but sons and daughters, that shit was amazing. Can we take it back to 95? Before we had this drama in our lives, just staring at the screen every day and night. I miss the rush of living in real life. Go get your DeLorean. Go get your DeLorean. Yo, what you got in that bag? Candy, cigarettes, and a Playboy mag? Many used to have to work for that. Wait for me, gotta dial up. Can't call my landline cause it's all tied up. Just bike over then. Oh, oh, oh. Can we take it back to 95? Before we had this drama in our lives, just staring at the screen every day and night. I miss the rush of living in real life.
Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes. We got our back against the wall, we gotta fight back. I need a theme song, this the right track. I ain't got no cape or no superpowers, just confidence and self-esteem, the world is ours. I believed in me when nobody didn't. This ain't no freestyle, just some facts that's written. Come on, let's hear it for the boy. He bringing pain at the same time joy. I bob and weave through the crowd, so untouchable. At first they hate, then they loving you. It's a crazy cycle, but I'm going through it. I wish I was lying, that's why I show and prove it. I'm destined to be one of the best to do it. I ain't saying I'm the GOAT, but I'm closer to it. I should get a statue in the front yard. Man, I'm shooting up my stats like a shooting guard. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes. I'll give it to you in 3D or even play by play. I'm your guest announcer, are you here today? Yo, let me get a show of hands if you rockin' with me. Ain't no stopping us now, we bout to bounce quickly. I'm about to start a movement, put your fist up. Everything all black from the wrist up, yeah. Leather gloves, no prints, what? we about to dip, deep cut. Yeah, now bring it back like a boomerang. Who that man, do that thing, coming through like Buddha Bang. Setting booby traps for girls and goofy cats. Hog tied and handcuffed through in the back. Zip locked and sealed up and tossed away. I don't know about your future, but it's bad today. I'm a prophet and a guru and the rap police. You in the belly of the beats, masterpiece. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes.
I feel like I'm afraid to say how I feel, to know I let you down. 'Cause late nights turn to days, don't wanna let you down. With each breath we give away, it'll never be the same. I'm chasing somebody who won't ever ease the pain, but I don't want half of your heart, heart, heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart. If it's only half of your heart. I feel like I'm afraid of the only things I can't change. I live life on a page that was written too long ago. I don't want half of your heart, heart, heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart. If it's only half of your If it's only half of your heart. If it's only half, but I don't want half of your heart, heart, heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart.
Today is gonna be a little something more. I've got a plan in mind, a special thing in store. The light bulb inside my head says, get out and play. 'Cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day. My lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold, a rabbit's foot or to be told. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day. Slept in 'cause I don't care and didn't make the bed. Sip coffee on my couch, what can I do instead? No work, it's only fun 'cause it's all okay. 'Cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day.
Okay, welcome to the live stream. I'm just gonna cut the music and bring it over, and let me just do one more quick thing and close out the music on my system. Okay, hopefully everybody's Sunday is going well, and we're just building a system today. Sorry, I'm distracted there. This is system build, I believe 19, sorry, 19, wow, we're up to 19 already. This is an Intel build. I'm gonna show you what you guys are gonna need first before you start everything. So let's flip over to the overhead and let me show you what's going on here. And let me put myself in the corner, camera 2. Oh, that's really bad. All right, sorry about the light setup, guys. It's a little bit wackadoo. We move things around. I gotta still position a little bit, so a little bit of shininess here going on, but that's okay. You guys get the gist here. All right, so we've got parts. We've got a Gigabyte motherboard B760M DS3H DDR4. We have an Intel processor, Intel Core i5 12400. LGA 1700 sockets, a power supply, which is just a Thermaltake 500 watt power supply, RAM, 16 gigabytes of CORSAIR Vengeance LPX memory, and one crucial drive, 2 terabytes NVMe drive. So let's get to this. Let's get actually, oh, we also have a case also. Case is behind me here, which is a Thermaltake H17 standard black. It's kind of our go-to case. So what else you're going to need? You're going to need a screwdriver, cutters, and you're also going to need some wire ties. So let's get started. Let's start building the system. We're going to start with the motherboard and processor and RAM. So we're going to take that down. We also need the NVMe drive, and we'll assemble the basic stuff, then we'll get into the case. When building this, you're gonna, inside here, you're gonna have your I/O shield. Keep that on the side. You will need to install that. Some SATA cables, which we're not going to use. And motherboard itself, which I'm gonna take out of the container here. I got this from Micro Center, and I'm not very happy. This looks like it was a return, which makes me nervous, so we're gonna have to test everything. We have to test everything anyway, but this should not be mounted like that. And there is no cover on the socket, which I really don't like when I receive things like this. But let's see if it's bad or good. Maybe they've tested it, I hope. So let's take a look. So normally this case cover is over here. I don't know why this was removed. It obviously was a used board, which makes me feel very nervous because I paid full price for a board that may or may not be used, which I will bring that up to them later. You'll also need a knife, which I do not have over here. I do have a knife. Never mind, got a knife. All right, so let's cut this open. Let's see if the board works. If the board works, great. If it doesn't or has a problem, then we will be returning that to Micro Center, and then we'll just deal with it. But let's continue the build anyway. So here's the processor. We also have the heatsink and fan. The heatsink and fan we're going to keep off to the side over here, just out of the way. It also comes with a manual. If you care for that, you can use that. So to the side, we're going to open up the socket and we're going to inlay the processor. Normally there's a cover on this, which makes me nervous that there is no cover. I'm going to check the pins really quickly to be sure that there is nothing wrong with the pins. I don't see any damage to the pins, so it should be okay. Let's take the processor out. And very carefully, do not touch the bottom of the processor, obviously. And what you want to do is lay the processor into the socket with the little arrow. Ooh, can't see the arrow. The arrow, which is indicated here, into the socket, which is also the arrow on the socket is listed on the motherboard, which is on this side corner. That's on the cover, not the cover, the socket type, socket head, whatever it's called. So push that in there. You shouldn't have to push anything. You should just let it drop in. It should just perfectly line up. Then push that down and then push the socket into place with the socket arm underneath there. It's locked in. It's not going to go anywhere. Now, what we're ready to do is we're going to take and mount the heatsink and fan. Now, the heatsink and fan already has pre-applied thermal paste, so you will not have to apply that. It's already there, but if you don't want to use this one, you can basically take any thermal paste that you prefer, wipe this paste off, and then put a new paste on for you, and that would still also work if you prefer a different thermal paste. In my case, we're just going to use what's already here. It's the pre-applied one is fine. We usually do maintenance on all the machines anyway, so we will probably change out the thermal paste eventually, and this one still works pretty good for what it is. Someone's saying hi. Hi. Now, hopefully you can hear me. I'm hoping that the mic is all working right. I did not have a chance to double check everything before starting. To put this fan on, you just basically push down in the corners until it clicks into place. Which sometimes it's a little hard with the Intel ones to get them to click. Once you've got everything in place, just double check, flip over the board, make sure that all the little standoffs are pushed through on the board and they're clipped in. Once they're clipped in like that, then you know it's not going to come out. It's not going to slip apart for you. Going to plug in the CPU fan. CPU fan plugs into the one that's called CPU. And what we're going to do is we're going to install the RAM next. The RAM, this motherboard has 4 sockets. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to figure out which 2 sockets you're going to actually populate. We've only got 2 sticks of RAM. So we're going to open this up. That out. You're going to take the little plastic covers off the RAM before you install it. So just take the other one out, do the same thing. Take the plastic cover off the RAM itself, the little cover for the logo. You don't want the plastic in your case. It's not a good idea. So we're going to look at the motherboard, and on the motherboard it's labeled right here. It says first sockets to be A2, B2. So it's these gray sockets that are labeled on the board. You're going to flip those. You got to flip the clips down, and then you're going to basically insert the RAM. You're going to double check the notch on the RAM and make sure that that notch lines up with the notch on the board, and you're just going to put it straight down and slide it into place. It should click. Same thing, repeat for second stick. Should pop in. Okay, now the next few steps here, we have an NVMe to put in, so that's the hard drive. We're gonna put that in next. I'm gonna clean up the desk a little bit, get rid of some of the stuff out of my way. All right, so the NVMe drive, we're just gonna open it up. Now, Crucial comes with an extra screw here that we don't really need. This screw we're not going to use because it already comes with it on the board, which is this little cover. We're going to use that cover in place. I'm going to open it up. Take out just the drive. Make sure there's no screw with it. Okay. This drive is a 2 terabyte drive. This is going to line up with this socket here. It's going to go in place on a 45 degree, well, it's like a 45 degree angle, 35 degree angle. You're going to pop it into that socket and you're going to just push it down to make sure it lines up. Now, before you push that all the way down, we're going to need to screw that in. So we're going to need a very small screwdriver, which I always seem to forget to bring over here. This small. Just take that out. We don't need the rest of that. All right. Just gonna take the small screwdriver, really small Phillips, I think, yeah. It's a Phillips 0 size. Slide the heatsink over and you're gonna line it up and then screw straight down into the standoff that is on the board. That's in place. The thermal pad was already removed, but you would normally also remove the thermal pad before you put that down. All right, I'll put this away. Okay. Now we're ready to mount this into the case. Let's get rid of all this stuff. Just clean up the desk a little bit. If you have SATA hard drives, you'll use these SATA cables. Right now, I'm just gonna put them off to the side because we don't need them for this build. IO shield, of course, do not forget. So that is up there. And let me take this out of the way. All right, we got the case in place. It's going to be a little bit weird look right now while I get the case in here. Just going to take the side panels off, prep the case, and we'll bring it downward so you guys can see the rest of the install. Okay. On the back of the case, before we go to the front here, this is the back side of the panels that aren't really exposed to the inside. You want to basically unscrew and take off these little cables, get them loose so that you can easily reroute the wires. Also, you're going to need this screw bag with all the bag of screws and all the other stuff that's in here, like the little twist ties and cable ties and stuff like that. So we're going to take that out. Got some cable ties that come with the case, which we're going to use. We're going to put those off to the side. And then a whole bunch of screw bags that are labeled. You have a speaker. This is a speaker that makes the computer beep when you turn it on. We are not going to plug that in. That gets annoying. We'll toss that. So we do have this is the motherboard screws. Yeah. This is used for hard drives. Yeah, used for a 2.5-inch SSD. You keep that if you're using an SSD. We're going to put it at the bottom of the case when we're done. Also, we have 3.5-inch drive screws for any type of mechanical disc. And then it comes with the regular motherboard screws, as well as some fan screws and an extra few screws for like mounting a GPU or whatever. We're not actually putting a GPU in this one. This is only a regular onboard graphics, so there is no need for that. Power supply is going to go down here in the bottom area here. This is the back of the case. It's going to go bottom to the back. We're also going to put the fan facing downwards, which will basically pull air from the bottom of the case. So the power supply that we're going to put in is a Thermaltake Smart 500. This is an okay power supply for just regular desktop use. I would not use a graphic card in this. If you want to use a graphic card, I would recommend a little bit higher end power supply, more wattage than what this is. This wattage is not rated for using for like a really high-end graphic card, which is not this build, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you were going to do your own build and you're going to add a graphic card to, let's say, this build list, I would recommend that you go with a better power supply, one with more wattage, one that can handle a graphic card with no issue. All right, so what comes with it? Just some manuals. I'll put off to the side. Power cord, which we're going to have to give to the customer. So I'm going to put that off to the side. Screws, as well as some more wire ties. We're going to keep that over here for now. Let's take everything out. And just a regular box. Get that out of here. Get the wrap out. Okay, plastic's off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this fan, and that fan is going to go down towards the bottom of the case, so it pulls air in from the bottom of the case. This also keeps it a separate air chamber from the top part of the case, which has your motherboard, your CPU, and everything else. So we're just going to slide this into place. I don't like the fact that that came off. There we go. Pop that in. It just goes fan down, like so. The screws go from this side, so you just can push this against this side of the case. You're not going to really be able to see me screwing this in, but you just basically lay it in place here, and you use the 4 screws that are on the back of the case to line it up and screw it in. So the screws that came with the unit are the ones you want to use. Some more wire ties. Should be 4. Here they are. If you're new to PC building, I don't recommend that you use an electric screwdriver. Please use like a regular standard screwdriver so you don't end up stripping any screws. It is just advisable. Line up the screw holes in the back and then just screw in. This might be easier if you bring the case upwards. I'm not doing that because you will see nothing if I did that. So that's why I'm kind of lifting the power supply to get it to line up with the screws. But if you're doing this on your own, I'd recommend you put the case upwards so you're not fighting gravity. Okay, just make sure everything is tight. There we go. Once that's tight, what you want to do is you want to undo this tie here and untie all of the wires so you can move them around freely. Do not use these twist ties. Use the other plastic ones that actually zip. These have metal in them, and you don't want metal flying around your case just in case something goes wrong. Pulling out the cables, the only ones we're going to need for this build is the 24-pin motherboard cable and the CPU one, that is an 8-pin connection, and that's the 12-volt rail. That is going to go into the other side of the case when we are ready to build that section. Everything else we're not going to really use, but just to go over everything, this is a SATA connection, which is a thinner connection. That is for like SATA hard drives or any type of mechanical drive or anything like that. Older connections are a Molex connector. This Molex connector is usually used for like old fan controller hubs or older type of drives. And it's also got a floppy connector, which usually is used currently for like tape drives if you have a tape drive, but most devices do not use this connector anymore. So we'll just put it off to the side. We're gonna put all this stuff down below for now, just to keep it out of the way. And so we can mount the motherboard and stuff. We're just gonna keep all the other wires tucked down below so we can flip everything over. Okay. And it stays nice and flush to the table. There we go. Kind of. All right, there we go. All right, so in here, the other way. In here we basically have some, it's labeled SSDs. These are for like if you have a 2.5 inch drives, you can throw them in here on this side, or you can throw them on the other side. I usually recommend throwing them on the other side so it stays away from all the heat that's on this side. And you can install them here if you want to, if you have them. Motherboard goes here, your IO shield goes here. This is just a fan that comes with the case. There's only one fan with this case. There are optional mounts in the front, so you can install more fans. I think you can install 3 more 120s in the front and one 120 at the top, or 140 it looks like. That might be a 140. I'd have to double check. But you can install those if you want. That again, it's optional. You really don't need it for this type of build, but if you have a graphic card or something that generates a lot of heat, you'll want to add that in just so that you have it part of your build. Let's get the IO shield in because I'm already thinking about forgetting it, so let's not do that. So we're going to take the IO shield out. Hopefully it's the right one. Why does that look funny? Something is off. The IO shield they gave me does not match the product. They gave me a wrong IO shield. How does that happen? Manufacturing problems. All right, so that is not good. That basically makes this really difficult to install. Let me double check the box to be sure I don't have anything else that's in here. It looks like this was an open box and they screwed up the IO shield. I hate companies. All right, so this has got to be fixed, but we can put it in without the IO shield for now. We'll get it installed, but we'll have to fix this. We'll have to contact the manufacturer to get the proper IO shield before it gets delivered to the customer, so we'll have to do a little extra work later. It happens. All right, so let's move on. Hopefully the board works. We'll get the board tested and everything by putting it in here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put the board in. We're gonna line up all of the screw holes to make sure it all lines up with the holes that are, with all the standoffs that are in each piece. And it does. Number 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah, that's correct. And 1, 2. So it's also labeled mini ITX and microATX. MicroATX is all the number 2s, which all the 2s are filled in. We don't need these 2s on this side because it'll be fine without it. And let's basically just lay this into place. We won't have to worry about an IO shield right now, so it won't give any pressure back. But you should always install the IO shield if you have the proper one. Make sure you have the proper one, of course, before you put it in. You don't want to end up breaking things. Just in case they do give you the wrong one, there's no issue. All right, so let's screw everything in. Screws we're using are very thin screws. This is the only thin screws that are in here. That will also be the only ones that will fit these standoffs. So if it's giving you a lot of pressure, then you know you've got the wrong one. All right. Repeat the process for all the screws. Make sure that you have got all stand-ups and screws all screwed down. If you're missing one, then obviously go back. Do not boot up the machine without having all of them properly installed. Could cause a machine to have a problem. Just push down the little wires, keep them out of the way, and we're going to connect up all the power cables now. So we're going to flip it back over, push the cables through on the correct side. So on this side, we're going to take and get the power cables out of the way first. So like I said before, the only one we're going to need, two cables we're going to need, CPU, and we're going to need the 24 pin. So that goes there, this goes here, and that goes that way. And what we're going to do is we're also going to take the wires that we need to push through and figure that out in 2 seconds. So we get the other wires out of the way. These wires we don't need. We're just going to tie these wires up and put them at the bottom. Get them out of the way so we don't have to deal with it later. Okay. Just push that down there for now. We'll continue cutting everything and everything else in place, but we're just gonna push this way so I can flip the case over and figure out where these other wires are gonna go. All the front pinouts are down at the bottom, so we're gonna take those thin wires and push them through on the bottom part of the case and get them up to come up in the correct holes areas. This is over here. Okay, audio goes on the opposite side. Again, it's all labeled on the cable itself, and they're labeled on the motherboard. USB 2.0. So over here. USB 3.0. 3.0 is where the 24 pin is. So this is going to go here. Okay. So why I want to push those through is so I can bring it back down. You guys can see where everything comes up. Actually, this is a really weird way of doing that. All right, let me turn it a little bit. So everything that's pushed up, we're going to pull the slack back onto the other side when we're done, but I just want to make sure we have enough room on this side to pull the cables through. So I'm going to take the USB 3.0 connection, plug it straight into the only spot where it fits. Somebody typed HLW. I'm behind on my acronyms, so you're going to have to tell me what that is. Is it maybe you mean hi? And maybe you just mistyped it? And if that's the case, hi. All right. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to connect up the regular front end connections. The front panel is labeled, everyone's labeled reset, hard drive, power switch, and HDD LED. So the only ones that make a difference are the LEDs. The LEDs are positive, negative, so you must make sure they follow the same positive, negative. They are written on the motherboard. If you're unsure, grab your manual. It should be in the manual as well, but if you want, you can always look at the board. The board's the easiest method. Reset. It's usually in the same order. Most motherboard manufacturers have it the same way, but just in case. And power LED last, I just want to squeeze that in there, positive, negative, going left, right. A little hard to see. negative. Hard drive, that's all done. So now we're just going to connect up the USB connection, which is labeled USB. There's 2 of them on the board for USB 2.0. It doesn't really matter which one you plug it into. They should all work. Same thing for the audio. The audio should be only 1 connection, and they are keyed out, so you can't put them in the wrong way. If you want to use your front audio, which I don't prefer, but you could. I also almost forgot the CPU connection at the top here, which is stuck. There we go. CPU, which is the 8-pin, and you just plug it in. Same thing, you just find the clip and you put it in the correct direction. It should only go in one way. It shouldn't force, you don't have to force anything in. If you're forcing something in, then you may want to double check. You're probably doing something wrong. And just maybe flip the connector over. It's probably just the wrong direction. Same thing for the CPU, for the fan. I just dropped that, didn't I? Where'd it go? Where did I drop that? All right, I'll find it in a second. Okay, so fan, you want to just connect the power for the rear case fan, and that one happens to be up in the upper corner. It is a 4-pin connector, but it's a 3-pin connector on the fan. That is okay. You just need to line it up properly with the block and push it in, and it should connect. I don't like this cable going this way. Can we go this way? Try to hide that cable a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's good for right now. All right, so we're going to pull the other cables back from the other side. And we're going to tie things down. So, on this side, there we go. I pull the cables back just so they're nice and taut from this side so that they're not all hanging out on the other side. All right, there we go. And then what you want to do is you want to just put a little tie so that they stay on this side. And then we're going to tie them down to the board in the back. Now, what I usually do is I don't tie these wires cross over this way. I like to probably tie them back more this way so they're away from the solid state drive, so you can put them in later if you want, so you have an option. You don't have to do that. You could just go, you know, any which way you want, just as long as the wires are kind of out of the way. Now they do have some anchor points which I'm going to use right over here, so to do that I'm just bending the tail of the wire tie and then slipping it underneath to make it a little easier so it comes back up on the other side with no problem. Pull all the tails, get them in the correct spot. And same thing here, I didn't pull this one back yet. Pull that back, push it down out of the way. You want to try to use more of the bottom for the spot for reserve cables so that you don't have to have a lot of cables exposed. It also makes, this is not just for like looks, I mean it is mostly for looks, but it is also for cleaning purposes. It makes it easier to dust your computer. When there is less cables all over the place, you can easily just hit it with a few blasts of air to get all the dust out. There are dust covers on this and dust filters. They don't get everything, so you're gonna have to still open it up once in a while and clean it out. Keeping the dust out and keeping it down to a minimum is best. And keeping the cables organized will help you with that. So you can see where all the dust is, you can clean it out a little bit easier. And whoever's cleaning the machine will definitely thank you for it. If it's you, then you can thank yourself. So pull the wires forward, and then just, again, you want to just follow all the little tie points. Also, when you're closing the cover of the case or doing any maintenance, the cables won't be in your way. So that'll always be a positive. And this is repetitive for all these steps. You just basically keep going until you've got all the cables tied down. Now I'm hoping this motherboard boots because it looked like it was used, so, which I'm not a very big fan of. I did get this from Micro Center. I'm kind of a little bit disappointed that it was a used motherboard. I rarely ever get used stuff from there, but happened to get one this time, and I'm hoping that it's not broken. I did get an improper I/O shield, which means I'm still gonna have to probably take all of this apart again, but it's fine. They'll definitely solve the problem. They always do. It just sucks because I have to drive back there to fix it. All right, so that's all good. We're at this point. We can flip it back over and you can see that all the cables are nicely down. So there's nothing hanging out. Everything's nicely tucked in. If you want to add a graphic card to this later, obviously the graphic card slot is nicely open, or if you want to add another NVMe, you can do that as well. All the board is just plugged all in. So yeah, we have extra fan connectors and stuff, but there's no other fans. The customer only wanted one fan, which is fine for what they're having. There's no need for craziness here. So let's give this a boot and see if it works. And let's go from there. Let's see, what we got? Get the garbage out of my way. Keyboard, mouse. Oh, this is a really bad view. Let me put me back here for a sec. All right, let me get that out of the way so I can get the keyboard and mouse hooked up. I'm gonna get a keyboard and mouse really quick. And we'll put some power on this, and then you guys can see the screen. Hopefully it'll boot up and we won't have any problems. And the only thing I'll need to get is an I/O shield for this system. If not, this will be a very, 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 very short stream. But we shall see. Let's see. All right. Okay. Oh, power. Power. Am I missing anything? Oh, monitor. Where's my monitor? HDMI is fine. Where are you? There we go. All right, let's power it on. And let's switch over to that system view. There we go. Hopefully it boots. Bad feeling. Oh, there it goes. Okay. It did boot, which is good. So what we're going to do is we're going to load up the BIOS next, which is awesome. I already made a disk for that. I just got to do a few more quick things on the disk because I forgot to bring over the files, which would be helpful. So maybe I should show that. Let's do that and put myself over here. Okay. So downloads. All right, I already made a bootable USB flash drive, which is not coming up. Oh, it's doing this thing. It's thinking about it. Did I finish this? Oh boy, I did not make a bootable flash drive. It busted. Of course. Nope. All right. Anyways, give me a second, guys. It's gonna take like 2 minutes to make another disk. Do I have the ISO in here? Yes, I do. ISO. Did I download everything? 11, 64-bit download. All right, so I want to show you guys how to make a USB Windows 11 boot disk. Just give me 1 second. I think that flash drive is messed up. We'll pull it, and I'll try again. That's what I get for using the front connector. They work usually, but Test manager. Yeah, Rufus is frozen. Lovely. And that task. Okay. Usually I make this disk ahead of time, but I wanted to show how to do it, and I also kind of like ran out of time a little bit. So let's see. I'm going to clear off the flash drive first. So we're going to run disk part, and we're going to select that disk. Any day now. If it came up. Or is that USB flash drive really messed up? That could be a bad flash drive. I'm having a really bad day today, huh? At least the system booted. That's a positive. This always happens. I have like 1.5 billion flash drives. I might just go grab another one. Yeah, that flash drive's not working right. Okay, that's an issue. I'll be right back. Hold on 2 seconds. Let me grab another flash drive. And I just hit something. Another flash drive. Where's that little flash drive? Alrighty, flash drives. This is why you need like a case of flash drives if you're a technician, or even if you're just building your own unit. You want to have maybe 2 or 3 flash drives just in case something like this goes wrong and you get a bad one. All right, ow. Let's just double check if that comes up. Or that port's bad. Maybe that port just is stuck. Let's try a 2.0 port. Hello. I guess somebody else came in the chat. Hello. We're up to the system build. System's already built. We're just doing the build of the flash drive, but it is not agreeing with me on this computer. It does not want to show up with a flash drive, which is weird. I'll go to the one in the back. All right. Can I ask something? I'm going to say yes, as long... Yeah, why not? Is Windows 11 better than Windows 10? Ooh, that is a good question. I'm going to have to say it depends on what you're using it for. But Windows 10, there's nothing wrong with Windows 10. I think that it's an okay operating system. There's nothing really wrong with it. 11 is very similar. So it depends. There's a few more features that are in Windows 11 that are better for like gaming purposes, but if you're using it for business, honestly, 11 and 10 are kind of very close. In fact, I usually tell people to hold on to it as long as they can until end of life for Windows 10. When they start to kick the security updates, that's really when it's going to really be a difference. So if you're building new, Windows 11 is a better choice to go with, just so you don't have to buy another license, or you don't have to go upgrading it and go through an upgrading process. But if you're already have Windows 10 and you're happy with it, just stay with it until end of life, you know. Or upgrade it at the last moment while it's still free when you're ready to do that. So, because Windows says that I have a free upgrade to 11. Okay, yeah, if you have a free upgrade to 11, you could do it. Just make sure that you meet the requirements. You know, make sure that you have, you know, make sure you meet, you know, secure boot. Make sure that you have a TPM module in place. Not the module, but like if it's available on your CPU, that's fine. You know, make sure you have enough RAM. I recommend at least 16 gigs of RAM. I've not really, the last machine that I've ever used that had 8 gigs was kind of horrible on Windows 11, so I wouldn't do that. But yeah, I would do it if you have the free upgrade. It's perfectly fine. Oh, where's my files? Let me open another one of these. Sorry guys, I'm like, my mind is not here today. Downloads, there we go. Rufus, let's open up Rufus. So of course another application's locked it. Rufus still open? Oh, it is. That's why everything's acting funny. Weird. Let's see. Okay, Rufus is locked. Really? Never really have any problems with this program. Shocked. Let me check. This doesn't exist anymore. Why it takes so long? What takes so long? Opening up the. Yeah, making this disk is usually like 3 seconds. By the way, if that's what you're talking about, something's wrong with Rufus here, and it's stuck. All right. Did it end it finally? New CSD. Oh. New PCs take a little bit of time to set up usually. It's usually about getting the disk correct, but yeah, this is like frozen on me. That's always lovely. All right. I don't know what happened there. Let me end this. Restart that. I'm also doing a lot on this one computer that I probably shouldn't be handling as much, so that's another problem. New rig took me 2 days. Okay, well, it could if you have a lot of parts. If you have a lot of like fans or all-in-one water cooling, and I still don't have my old drives set up. Okay. Well, go at your own pace. You don't need to go crazy. I mean, I built this one pretty quickly, but it has very minimal specs, so you know it's not that bad. All right, I'm gonna have to go to a different machine and build this really fast because this is taking forever and it's not doing a great job. Be right back. Let me go make a disk so we can load up 11 at least. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back in 2 seconds. I still have my mic on. I think you guys can hopefully hear me and I'm not talking to myself. Windows 11. Start. Yes. Okay. All right, that is going. It's creating the disk right now on the other machine. I don't know why this machine's having a problem. Let's It's weird. How many drives are in your other system that, or is it just one other drive you're just waiting to hook it up? This is minimized, so minimize that. All right, disk is creating. Let's go to the BIOS while we're waiting. Usually I set up all the BIOS options, but we got to update the BIOS, so it's going to probably erase everything. The current BIOS we are on is it old? It might not be old. No, it's pretty old. I think that's pretty old, yeah. Oh boy, that's really old BIOS. That's like their first BIOS. Okay. Shoot, this computer is really messed up. My streaming one is messed up today. Where's the program? Oh boy. Oh, I'm blinded, huh? All right. Hopefully I'm still streaming. I don't even know. My streaming PC is a little screwy. It's acting a little funny, so I'm just going to give it a quick reboot. Hopefully we won't lose connection. I am sorry I can't see chat right now until this is restarted, so bear with me. It is stuck in some sort of loop. Let's power it back on. And let me go grab that drive really quick, and we'll update the BIOS, and we'll get this going. This has not been a really great day. What is with everything today? All right, we're back up. All right. Okay, we're back up. Let's see. Okay. Sorry about that. That was a mess. Okay. Let's see if I have another flash drive that has the Windows installation already on it. We might get lucky, and we won't have to go through a lot to deal with that. Nope. Of course not. What a new version of BIOS can give you. The version of BIOS right now, if you look at this screen in the upper over here, it says BIOS version F1. On the website for this motherboard, you're going to see that it has a lot more revisions. Let me flip over to that screen. This over here. Put myself back there. There we go. So if you look at this, this is the motherboard that we're using currently, which is the Gigabyte B760M DTS3H. F1 is way back. This is October 12, 2022. The newest BIOS is F12, July 28, 2023. So that's the one we really want. But I am waiting for it to download. Let me try to download this again. It just decided it wanted to do it on its own. There we go. So we're gonna do the BIOS. BIOS comes zipped up, so we're just gonna open up my flash drive here. I just got some garbage on this flash drive, but it's fine. Let me just ditch all this stuff. And what I'm gonna do is just drag it over. So you take the flash, you only need the F12 file, but you can take the whole thing and just drag it over and it'll extract over there. And now we're gonna just take that disk out and we're gonna plug it into the machine that we have here. Maybe I'll put myself over there, okay. And then we're gonna just flash the BIOS. Flashing the BIOS just basically is gonna erase the current BIOS and update it to the new one. To do that, we're just gonna go over to QFlash, which I'm gonna move my mouse here to QFlash, click on that. You're gonna say update BIOS. You're gonna select the F12 file that we just copied over to it. You're going to hit next. It's going to ask you, are you sure you want to update the BIOS? You're just going to say yes. It'll verify the file, and then you just press the start. Okay, now it's going to tell you the system's going to shut down and reboot. This is a normal process. Just be very careful though, before you actually go through this. A little warning. You should be on a UPS battery or something that will not lose power. You want to make sure you're on a constant power outlet, because if you lose power during this process, you could damage the motherboard and that would be a very bad day for you. So try not to do that. Try to, in other words, don't upgrade your BIOS during like a lightning storm or something. It's going to verify, it's going to update. You just sit back and relax during this process. Don't touch anything, don't touch the keyboard, don't touch the mouse. Just let it, do its thing. It's going to patch all the way through. And once it's done patching, then we'll go get the flash. We'll get a USB disk, should be ready for Windows. You want to upgrade your BIOS when you first get your motherboard. You'll also want to upgrade your BIOS when you have like bugs or anything or any type of really weird situation that they fixed over time. You may want to check the website just to see if there's a new BIOS and patch at that time. If you're upgrading hardware, most of the time that's when you do it. Like if you're upgrading from one processor to a new processor and you're keeping the same motherboard, you'll want to do the BIOS before you switch the processor out. How many times do we upgrade BIOSes? Rarely. We only upgrade BIOSes maybe whenever there's like an actual problem, or if there's a problem with something with the BIOS itself that's been buggy, or they found some sort of glitch, then that's the best time to do it as well. But especially when somebody first buys a machine, we do the BIOS update right away because there's always a lot of changes. So. Okay, it's patching, updating, whatever, same difference. Now this motherboard had a lot of BIOS revisions since the first version, which was in 2022. We're up to now F12 from 724. So at least the board is staying consistent and new, and they're getting rid of stuff as they go. So. Okay, it's going to go through a reboot. This is absolutely normal. Just leave the flash drive plugged in while it reboots. And we shall see when it comes back up. Should go to the BIOS. Should go back to the BIOS. There it goes. And we're back in, and the BIOS is upgraded. You'll see it says over here, BIOS version F12. It's properly labeling everything in the cores. Now, the only thing that you might have noticed is our RAM is not running at the full speed, and that's because XMP is off. We're going to turn it on and put it to profile 1, which is the correct speed. Let me just double check. It is the correct speed. It is 3200 speed. Now, If you get a problem with turning on XMP, then most likely either your motherboard doesn't support it very well or your RAM doesn't support it very well. You may have some glitches there. I recommend that you run a mem test if you're going to turn on XMP and go to like the highest amount of speed for your RAM. But you don't have to. You can skip it. I mean, I'm going to skip it for right now, but if you're going to have a long-term system, we're going to still run the test later because that test does take a while to run. I'm just also going to go back into advanced mode for a second and just quickly make sure everything in the BIOS is correct, which it looks like it is. I just like to check the I/O ports. We're using integrated graphics, so I'm going to just use the integrated graphics to just force that in. Pre-allocated amount of memory, I usually like to leave at 128. Aperture size is fine. Onboard LAN control, of course, we're using that audio. We're using it above 4G decoding. We don't need a lot of these things. It depends. Utilities downloader. This you want to turn off. This is annoying. It'll try to download a utility that will try to install drivers for you. I recommend you just do the drivers yourself because it takes up a lot of memory and it wastes a lot of space. So, turning off the serial port. I'm going to turn off parallel port because we don't have any of those. I don't even know why it's in here. USB, everything else looks okay there. Network stack, that's fine. NVMe, I'm just making sure the drive shows up, which it does. You can run a full test if you want. I don't do it. It's normally fine unless it's a server. A server will run a full test on just because, you know, we're putting something in place. These are just SATAs. We don't have any SATAs. VMD controller, just leave it the way it is. Time and date, of course, set it to your time and date, which is not correct for me. Oops. And it is not 4:30, that is 16:30. There you go. Plugin info, you could check it. It's just making sure everything's here, and it looks like it is. So we're going to boot off the drive, but we're not going to boot off this drive. This board still doesn't say Windows 11 on it, which is weird, but that's because Windows 11 and Windows 10 are very similar, so that's why it probably doesn't have it. You can set an administration password if you feel like, if you don't trust anybody messing with your settings. But let's save settings and exit. But let me get that flash drive and see if it's done, and we can load up Windows 11 and go from there. Okay. Close. All right, we got it. So that one worked. Alrighty, so we got the flash drive with Windows 11 on it. We're just going to switch that out. We're going to plug in this one. During the loading process, I like to leave the Ethernet card disabled or disconnected, just because I don't want to have to sign up a Microsoft account. This will allow you to do that. So let's hit save and save and reset. I'm going to make sure we're booting off of that drive, which I just plugged in. Let me go back to the BIOS for one more quick second. Is this 12th gen or 13th gen? 12th gen. There it goes. Okay. So on the boot, we're just going to boot from, actually it's already set up, so we're good. Let me just disable this one. Should be only one. All right, save settings and exit. And we should boot up right into the Windows setup. Hopefully. Or not. Are we in a boot loop? This is running a little slow. Did I plug in the right USB? I thought I did. Oh, there it goes. All right, a little weird. Okay, so during the setup, you just select your language, select your currency, all that stuff, which is already selected for me. So we're going to hit next. We're going to install now. If you have multiple hard drives, since somebody mentioned it in chat, if you have multiple hard drives, I would recommend you disconnect your data drive before you start any of this, just so you don't have to worry about your data drive getting messed up. I'm going to say I don't have a product key, but if you have a product key, you would enter it there. I'm going to choose Windows 11 Pro because that's what we're installing today. We're going to agree to the terms because we have no choice. We're going to choose custom, and we're just going to select the main drive. This customer only really needs one huge hard drive, but if you want to set up 2 partitions or something, this is where you would do it. In this case, we're just going to select the unallocated space, and we hit next. Let it install Windows. It'll take a few minutes. You just sit back, relax, wait for it to process all the way through. During the installation, sometimes it may ask you for a Microsoft account. If it does, and you feel okay with signing up a Microsoft account, you can do that. I prefer not to sign up a Microsoft account. It complicates things for something that should be just simple, which is just a user account. So for our customers, we like to just set up default regular user accounts because they're just simple. When you have a Microsoft account, sometimes the tracking, first of all, is a lot heavier on it. And then second of all, if the person loses their password, it becomes a little bit of a nightmare to get the password back, and they may end up having to like redo the machine if they can't get back into the computer. There's a lot of other problems that happen and occur. I would recommend you stay away from it unless you absolutely need to have a Microsoft account, then you can use it. But if you do a Microsoft account, maybe have an extra administrator local user account added in there at the same time, just so you don't have to worry about if you lose your password. You can still log in using that other administration account, reset your password, and then go forward, so you're not at least stuck. Okay. It's going to probably skip past the installing updates really fast because it's going to know that there's no Ethernet adapter connected or cable. Restart. It's going to restart. It should put us back into booting off of the hard drive, but if it doesn't, you can reset that setting in the BIOS. It should go to the boot manager at this point. But if your system doesn't go to the boot manager, you go back into the BIOS, select the Windows boot manager and your primary drive, and it'll go right to that. In this case, it automatically did it. That's another advantage of also updating the BIOS. The BIOS from version 1 probably wouldn't do it, wouldn't change that setting for you, where the newer version automatically assume that you're changing into Windows 11 and you want to boot off the main drive. Okay, we're getting things ready. It's taking a while. Okay. During the installation, you'll see something like this where it reboots a few times. That's normal. It has to grab drivers and figure things out. So just leave it go. Also during this time, if you have a lot of case fans, you'll see your case fans turning on and off. That is normal. That's fine. It's finding your case fans, seeing what the speeds are, what's selected and stuff like that. That is normal. So just leave it go. Okay, it goes to your nice and wonderful welcome screen. You're just going to go choose your country, of course, again. I don't know why it asks you twice. Choose your keyboard. If you want to add another keyboard, you can add a second keyboard if you have that. I'm going to say I don't have internet, so I can make a local user account, which is what I'm going to do. We're going to continue with limited setup. which is going to bypass the Microsoft account. We're just going to create a simple user called B1. It's our company. We're going to put no password for now, but you really should put a password. Just going to say hi. Getting things ready for you. It's just going to set up the user account. It's going to get us to the main Windows screen. During this process, I'm going to copy over the flash, hopefully if it works this time, copy over the drivers that I got from the website for the motherboard. Hopefully everything will actually work this time, which is on the other screen, isn't it? Yeah, it's on the other screen. Okay, let me bring this over. All right. Okay, it's going to take a few minutes for it to copy. So what am I doing on this other computer? I'm just basically making a folder called drivers on the flash drive I have, and I'm copying over the drivers that I downloaded from the website. Okay, we're started. Okay, great. So let's go back over here for a second and let's see. All right, so it installed basically everything. If you notice, we're missing a few icons here because we didn't connect the internet yet, which we're about to, and it's going to start downloading a bunch of crap you don't want, probably. That's just what Microsoft does. Windows 11 does it. Windows 10 also does it. They kind of install a bunch of default apps. It's just kind of what they do. If you're interested in removing those, we do have another video on removal of those apps, and we have a little script that you can run if you're interested in doing that. These icons don't get removed, unfortunately, in the removal of that script. You have to kind of right-click them and just remove the icon. But it does get rid of a bunch of other stuff. But before you do that, you'd want to do a Windows update because you want to make sure you're on the most current version of Windows. Even after I downloaded the newest version, it may still have some more patches, which it usually does. We're gonna let that go through. Yep, see there's a lot of installs here. Now, probably should do your drivers at this point. I like to do kind of like a lot of things at once, which maybe might be a bad idea for some people. So if you're doing a lot of things at once and you're not comfortable with that, don't worry. You can just do these things one at a time. You don't have to rush through it. I'm kind of just doing that because we're on the stream today, and I also done this 20,000 times, so it kind of feels just second nature at this point. Drivers. Oops, I spelled drivers wrong. I've got divers. Drivers. All right. We'll cut that, and we'll put this onto the main drive. We'll make our own little folder here for installing stuff. Paste over the drivers. Oh, I have that window in the background. Can't see you guys, sorry. There we go. Okay, hopefully nobody said anything. Okay, so while this is installing, you can leave this install in the background. I wouldn't recommend doing the drivers at the same time you're doing this. You probably should wait till this goes through its first reboot, and then you can start doing drivers. I'm just going to extract them here so we have them ready to go, because they're all zipped. So all of these files are zips, and I'm just extracting it to the folder name is the same as the zip file folder name. Keeping it simple. Now, if you have a graphic card, you'll always want to download your graphic card driver too. The one that I have here is on the motherboard, so it came with the motherboard drivers. But if you have a graphic card and a motherboard driver, I would recommend only loading the one that you're going to use, which in this case, if you're only going to use the graphic card one, then you would use only load the graphic card one. And of course, Microsoft installed a bunch of drivers, and now it looks a little funky. We'll do a reboot in a second. Hopefully it didn't screw it up too badly. This is why I don't like using the Microsoft drivers. If you noticed, it messed with the fonts, it messed with the refresh. This happens with their drivers. I'm going to just do a quick reboot just to get this to come back to normal. Okay, we're doing a quick reboot. And then we're going to load the main drivers that came from the motherboard manufacturer. This should replace the ones from Microsoft. The ones from Microsoft are good for like older drivers that you just can't get anymore. That's a pretty good solution for it, but for more contemporary drivers, it seems like the Microsoft catalog's a little behind on their driver suite. And of course, we're still updating something. Okay, still restarting. Oh, there we go, finally. During this process, there's a lot of rebooting. So every driver will want you to reboot on each installation. You don't have to do that. You can install the drivers all at once and then just reboot once. This is a real, the driver's still screwed up. All right, let me try to get the rest of the drivers installed so it doesn't look so horrible. Let's see, where's the graphic card driver? It's hard to see. I'm gonna guess it's this one. Yeah, it installed the wrong thing. Gotta love Microsoft. They try, but I wonder sometimes. I'm gonna pin this. Yeah, it's like all blurry. Sorry guys. Just let me load up the drivers for a second and we'll get that unblurry. Unless it's an actual display setting, which I don't think it is. No, it's acting funny. All right. We'll load up the proper drivers. It's probably got the wrong driver. Yeah, none of them are installed correctly. Yeah, including the graphic. They picked the wrong graphic card. If this ever happens to you and you can't make out what's on the screen, when you first turn the computer on, you can tap F8 or you can hold down the Shift key and hit restart, and it'll automatically bring you into a prompt to bring you to safe mode. I would recommend you go back to safe mode and then, you know, just delete the drivers and then retry again. Yeah, I don't sing very well, so I'm not going to torture you guys with that. Dance and dance. There's not enough room here to dance. This studio is not that large. And I don't feel like being that embarrassed. Let's see, are we still installing? Yes, we are. Yeah, I don't know if it's... Yeah, it's still very me. Something went wrong here. All right, let's try this driver. If it's not that, then it could be something else. Could be the memory too. Could be a memory issue. It may not be a driver issue. But let's wait for the first driver to go in and see if it's just something simple. The blinking of the screen, that's kind of normal. But this is, I guess it installed correctly. Let me try a full shutdown. Could be a memory issue too. It could be like XMP being on, could be also another problem. Or this board was still technically used from Micro Center, which I didn't like either, which could be another problem. Maybe it was returned for a reason. We'll find out. All right, that didn't really help. So they're still setting up devices. Let's try to take XMP down and out just to see if it's an issue with the board or the RAM. Probably more like the board. Oh boy, more updates. Okay. This is what happens when you connect the Ethernet adapter. It just wants to continuously update. All right, we'll wait for that. Okay, we're updating. Oh boy. All right. Well, what do you think? What do you think your program will be doing? Our next few videos that are coming up are going to be about, I think we have a few about servers. We also have a few about phone servers, as well as updating for AMD. A few AMD EPYC processors needed to be updated for the, what was that called? The Zen bleed problem that was happening this last week. So you'll see those coming in. Let me also turn off the XMP, which is what I was doing. I'm going to disable XMP just in case that's the issue. I don't think it is, because the BIOS seems to be perfectly fine, and that also uses the graphic card. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's coming up. So we're going to have a lot more videos about that. The server videos are going to take a little longer because the server videos are more in depth. So it's going to be more about, you know, configuration and stuff like that. A lot of Linux stuff is coming up, as well as just regular Windows Server stuff. Yeah, I'm not liking that this graphic is all messed up. So this might be a bad board. We might have got a really bad motherboard. By the way, this brings up a good point. Keep all your boxes until you know everything's working right. Because they're going to want the box when you go to return the motherboard, which is going to definitely happen at this point, it looks like. Because that font still looks a little screwy. And I don't think it's a Windows patch issue. Yeah, I think this motherboard was returned for a reason and not taken back into RMA. Yeah, we got a bad board. Yeah, that font is not correct. That font is screwy, yeah. Looks like something's wrong with the board. Well, when you see stuff like this, you know what happens. If you get a bad board, you're going to end up with crazy graphics and some other funky stuff going on. I'm surprised that I got a bad board from Micro Center, but I'm not going to be shocked at this point because stuff does happen, and it must have, you know, got into the return pile somehow. But yeah, you would load the rest of your drivers, and you would go through everything. I'm not gonna I don't think it's. We could try. Well, we can continuously load the rest of the drivers. I can kind of see, but yeah, it's not great when we have this problem. Obviously, that's the BIOS driver. I don't want that. That's Realtek. I'm trying to look for the chipset driver to see if that might fix this, but I don't think it's going to fix it. Motherboard. Maybe this one. It's kind of hard to read the fonts. You know, while that's going, I'm going to also open up display settings and see if I can maybe bring the resolution down and see if maybe something might help with that. Yeah, now if I bring the resolution down, it works, but if I go up to 1080, it's horrible. So let me bring the resolution down. At least I can get through the rest of the drivers with you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. You basically go through each one, you install each one. It's going to ask you to probably reboot on each one. I don't know why it's having an issue with 1080. Yeah, it's probably a bad board. But you could also load these more than one at a time. You don't have to sit here and wait for one to go. I usually just go through all of them and then, you know, just do one big reboot. Driver. All right, that's going. Yeah, even at the 740, the font is acting funny a little bit. It's not as bad as the 1080 resolution, but yeah, it's definitely broken. What do we have left? Yeah, Intel H7. I don't think it's the processor. I'm pretty sure it's the motherboard at this point. Just because the motherboard was opened when I got it, I didn't realize it was opened, which I bought brand new, which is bothering me that I bought something brand new and I received an open product. But maybe next time I'm gonna double check to see if there's tape on the motherboard box, because I don't think there was tape. There was tape, but it wasn't taped. Yeah, it was open. All right. By the way, this happens all the time. Like it's not from just Micro Center. I've gotten open boards from Newegg. I've gotten open boards from Amazon. In fact, I've actually received the wrong boards from Amazon, motherboards from the wrong, entirely wrong motherboards. So it does happen. It's just something you have to look at and say, okay, is it broken or is it something I have to return? And if you don't feel comfortable at all, just return it, because then at that point you could just say, oh, it was opened, and you want the product that you paid for, so especially if you're buying brand new. Now, if you're buying off Newegg or Amazon, you got to be a little bit careful because they do have things called open box. Micro Center has open box also, but you have to check a box to go to open box, which I like better. But the other one, you don't have to do that. So, all right. Right now, that's all I can do because, well, not much more I can do except, I can set the date and time. I noticed the date and time is wrong. But yeah, we have to basically swap the board. Hopefully I could just take the drive out and still use the same load, but if I can, I'll probably end up reloading it just in case. I'll probably reload it anyway. But yeah, that's it for the stream for now. Till next time, I guess have a great day and have a great Sunday. And I know what I'm going to be doing, driving to Micro Center. So I'll see you guys in the next one. And hopefully you guys stay subscribed. We'll have a lot more content coming up and other stuff. So yeah, and we'll see you in the comments. Talk to you soon. Bye.